Hey YouTube, Sam here. Well, it's time to do the plumbing for the toilet. And I got my ring here. I like these ones that until you mount them, you can still kind of move them around even after you've glued this in even. So that's what I got. I actually got this for free at a garage sale. And it's still got the sticker on it. It's never been used. I am going to have to get a plug to plug it up when I do my testing. But I kind of did the measurements from where I think my toilet needs to be. Now, depending on your toilet, depends on what your measurements are from whatever walls and all that kind of stuff. Anyhow, so what I did is, because I knew with my measurement here, I'd be hitting on this floor joist here, that I needed to come this way a little bit, but actually, it's pretty close because my actual measurement's over here, and I'm, within a ½ inch off. So I'm pretty happy with that. But what I did is I actually took this downstairs and put it up against this floor joist here and drilled up, and actually made my center hole. Just brought it all the way up through. Once I figured out where I needed it to be, then I took this off and drilled it all the way. Hopefully that makes sense. But anyhow, so we're going to go ahead and take this. And I'm using 3-inch pipe because that's what I have. I'm using this Harbor Freight cheapy bit, so I'm sure it's going to take me a while to do it. So I probably won't film it all. And in theory, it should fit down in there. And last we left off, we were making this hole here for the bathroom toilet, upstairs bathroom toilet. And what I did is I went ahead and kind of cut and ran everything here. Now it's all cattywampus right now because I had it hooked up there, but I was doing some other stuff. But what I did, and the reason why I ran all this and didn't show you guys anything as of right now, was because I ran pretty much all my plumbing to this point that I could, and also did some stuff over in the what I'm calling kind of the kitchen area down here. Anyhow, and what I did is I didn't glue any of this up, and had, in my area anyway, we could have an inspector come along and look at it before we glue it up, so we know if we do anything wrong. So I went ahead and did that, and he passed everything except for right there. I need that going up instead of down, even though it's just an air vent, so it's not drainage, so I didn't think it really mattered, but they want that to go up, so I'm going to have to change that. And that's the vent for the bathroom sink down here. So anyhow, something I do need to mention here, I don't know where this is going to wind up in the video, but it needs to be in the video. I got these caps here so that when I'm not working on this, I could cap that off, but now that I actually did glue this so I can go further, I have this cap which I had on there. I'm also going to be using these when I do my, to plug up things when I do the pressure test or fill it up with water is what I'm going to do. And so like that one will go on top of here, and I'll screw that in and make sure that's plugged, because I'm not doing this all isn't happening in one day. I can only work on it for a little bit at a time. So therefore, because this is an open system, drainage system, it's going to the sewer, and we don't have like a sewer in the backyard anymore or anything like that. This goes to a city sewage system. But anyways, it is an open sewer system. You have to plug these things off when you're not working on them, so that they're not just sitting wide open letting gases go into the air. Now, needless to say, I'm kind of in the middle of things, but I got to pull all this apart. And before I do that, because I know all these pieces are right where I want them, I'm going to take this pin here. It's the Milwaukee Ingersoll. Did a video on these. I wasn't real impressed with them. Where these two come together, there's a mark here already, so I'm just going to kind of highlight that. And then I'm going to put this one right here. And same thing here, there's a mark over here. So I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to take and put a mark right there. And I'm going to do that all the way up and around and all the way through all these fittings and up, just so that I don't lose where these are supposed to kind of sit. And then when I glue them, I know that those parts should fit together that way. Well, I got that up in there, brought this all over, and unfortunately that triple Y thing that I had that I have to replace with this one here is quite a bit different. So all those markings I've done now all the way across here is all going to change. So I've X'd those out. But you got a pretty good idea on what you need to do as far as once you know where you're at to mark it. But now, since all this has changed, quite a bit of this is going to have to move around a little bit and things like that. And then also to make that go up, I found this one here. I'm actually going to use it technically in a backwards fashion here. But this pipe up here that's going into it, that's going in, is only a vent. There's no water or anything going through this, so you know, I shouldn't have problems with it draining back into the air line here. And if a little bit of rainwater or something like that goes down the pipe, it shouldn't make a big difference. But anyhow, so that's going to have to go on top of that, which also means I might have to do, well, I think I can probably make this work. There's enough space there to where I can put some smaller pieces in there. But that's where I'm at now. Basically, because of this one little thing changing here, it's kind of changed everything. Not too bad, it just made it so I had to get rid of like a T here, and I've rotated this up a little bit, and when I put that on there, that should be a pretty easy gap. So I will show you that. That'll make me a good spot where I can kind of show you how to cut pieces together for the piece I'm going to cut for that. Hopefully you can see this. Now I just have this piece in here just to kind of know basically where that's going to line up at right in here. It's not long enough, but it's just kind of a test piece to know that I'm pretty close. Now I also got to line this up with what it's going to go up to as well. So from what I can see, it's somewhere pretty close to in there. The pipe moves and fudges a little bit, so I'm trying not to bend things too much, but I mean, it's got quite a bit of wiggle room, literally. So I'm going to also cut this probably a little longer than what I figure, by a little bit, and because I'd rather it be that further that way than this way, so that'll just push it over maybe a tad bit more. But this is how I measure for piping here. What we got is I take the measurement between here and here, and I already did this, and it's about 2 3/4 is what I'm going to call it. It's a little less than that, but I'm going to call it 2 3/4, just for that little fudge room there. And then I'm going to take this out here, and I do this with each fitting because I have noticed that although these fittings all are pretty close to the same, depending on where I get them at or what time they were shipped to the place, I've bought ones that were from the same place and the fittings were just a little bit different than the other ones. And I take it, and you can see where this kind of goes in to the pipe here. It's got a little bit of an angle right here. I'll take this and I put that right on that lip before it hits the angle. You can kind of tell. And it is about 1 inch. What is that? I'm going to go from this side here. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. About 1.5 inches difference there. I'm going to do the same thing with this side here. This one's right at a little over 1.5 inches, but yet again a little bit of fudge room. So I'm going to take that 2 3/4 and add 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches to it. So I know that this is 2 3/4, 1.5 inches, 1, 2, 3, so 3, 4, 5 1/4. 5¼ inches is what that pipe in there should be. I'm gonna redo my math because I suck at math in my head, but I think that's where I'm at. You can see it through the stupid little dots there. But as you can see, I can't do math on paper, but I still got it figured out, and it's 5 3/4. So I'm gonna go cut my pipe. There we go. Down to the sizes I need. I cleaned them up with some sandpaper. Now I used my chop saw and my compound miter saw to do this, and it worked really well. One thing about that, you definitely want kind of like a zero clearance on the back of the wall so you don't have any problems with smaller pieces. And but you can use a hacksaw, you could even use a skill saw, whatever you have that will cut through this. The compound miter saw just works real well and it makes nice flat cuts, so that's what I use. But well, I'm starting here at where it goes down on the floor. This is where it's going to all drain to. So this is where I'm going to start my gluing. So I got everything all marked up here. This is going to go on there, goes out over the toilet. This goes up to the vent and also over to the vent for the sink over here. So I got these all marked. I had to remark my marks and cross out some marks because this really messed with me, having to change this. So just make sure, unlike me, that these valves are going up for the angle of the vent, so you don't have the same problem maybe I did. Anyhow, let's get them glued up. A couple little tricks in the plumbing issues here. This piece here, I thought I was going to have to cut it shorter because it seemed too long. But if you reach in here, you can tell that it's a lot harder, especially if it's an older piece. This is a piece I'm reusing. I don't even know exactly where it came from, but it's clean inside. It just has been sitting, getting dirty and dusty in a garage somewhere. But anyways, I can't slip this joint on here very well, and so a lot of times you won't get it until you glue it. It won't go all the way in. So when you're pre-measuring and pre-fitting things, remember to a little more is better than on here too hard. Something you can do if you get like a ball peen hammer, carefully, because you don't want to break anything. If you take it and tap it, that loosens it up. And then you can kind of wiggle it back and forth till it comes off. Just a little trick there. When you're gluing black pipe, ABS up, make sure you have ABS glue. The stuff for the white pipe or the PVC is different. You need the ABS glue. And also, well, ABS, whatever it is. I don't know if it's considered a glue or what, but the glue is to glue it together. You need the glue and you need the cleaner for that. Now this cleaner actually says it'll work for ABS, CPVC, and PVC, but the actual cement here is medium black ABS cement. So we're going to glue this up. I'm going to find a pair of channel locks to get the cleaner open here. And I like doing this when I can anyways, over the top of a trash can, just to kind of keep stuff cleaner, keep it off the ground. Now this, I try not to be too stingy with. You want to go further back than you think, because these fittings really do go, you know, quite a ways in there. Alright, now we're going to take that, I'm going to set that to the side, and we're going to take this piece here, and we're going to do the inside part of this. It actually does, whatever is in this cleaner actually does soften it up a little bit. You can feel it softening up, you know. And then we're going to take the pipe here, and you don't want to put too much of this on and make a mess, but you know, you want to make sure you have enough, which I don't know if I do. This is a pretty big pipe here. Anyway, we're going to go around here. Go a few times around, set that to the side, make sure you have the clean side here. And I'm going to bring this in here. Hopefully you can see this. Alright. Now I'm going to put this over here, and we're just going to shove it on as good as we can. Make sure it's all the way. Give it about a quarter turn twist and hold it there for 30 seconds or so. Now with this one, these are just straight, so it doesn't really matter where the lines end up at, as long as they're all the way in and good and flush, which I got them good and flush. Now with this one, all these turns and bends have to line up just right for it to work right. So I need to make sure that when I line these up, these lines line up. I'm a little worried. These ones don't seem to squish together as well, so I'm hoping this is long enough. If not, I'll have to make up for it somewhere else. But we're going to go for it, and hopefully this works. So we got lines here, lines here. This one doesn't really matter. So really it's just these two have to really line up for sure. So we should be alright. And make sure that they're in the same order. So you might want a 1, 2, 3, 4 or something like that. Well, mistakes and all, here's where something I figured out. This does matter where it is here, because I need to line this part up so that it's right. Alright, and yet again, I didn't take my own advice and put numbers on these, and when I messed that all up, I had these all the right way, and then I started second guessing whether or not it goes this way or my lines are supposed to go this way, and that little bit of a turn will make a difference. So yet again, I'm going to let this all dry. I'm going to have to go fit it all again. Well, I was able to go into the bathroom, and based on these marks here, line it up with what's in the bathroom still that I haven't glued up. So this is the direction in which I need to glue this. So now I know we got that one is already clean. I need to clean this one, and I might go ahead and do the other one as well. Right, and in the interest of revealing yet more of my mistakes, I should have made sure that these lines lined up the correct way as well, because this has to coincide with where this is, because this is over a little bit from the wall. And unless this is where, you know, whatever direction this is, side to side, is going to matter. So pretty sure that I line these up pretty close, so I could just glue that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead, let this all dry, and when I'm all said and done, I'm going to have to do it one more foot. Well, we got most of this glued up, everything where it needs to go. Now, I don't know if it made it in the cut or not, but at one point in this video I talked about these pieces through here not coming together very well. These kind of ones just don't push together very well, so I was afraid I was gonna lose a little bit of distance. So what happened when I came through with this one, as you can see, I'm quite a bit further down than where this wants to go, but I do have an extra one of these which will bring it down pretty much where I need it. And we're coming, this is where the toilet will be sitting right here. So, and I have that anchored down where it needs to be now, so that, but I can still turn it because of that, like I said, that fitting that I showed you in the beginning. So that definitely makes it a lot easier. So I've glued that. I'm going to actually glue this into this side, then glue that and do this. Up to this point I pretty much started here and worked my way this way, which is about the best way, but I can tell right here where it's coming together. Because I have that maneuverability, I'm going to have to bring it in, and I'm still going to have to push this up a little bit. But as you can see, there's lots of wiggle room in this, so we're doing alright. And I did have to shorten that one quite a bit to add this piece on. And there we are. It goes from there, it's all glued, down, around, and down in the main pipe. Now I will show you this as well. That is the vent pipe going through and up through the floor there, and I'll show you what I did up above. Alright, and there's where it all started. Don't forget to cap off anywhere where you have holes, because you don't want the gases coming out. And this is insulation that came through the attic when we were down from the attic. And we did this. Now unfortunately I had to put a piece in there, and then this goes up and all the way through the roof. But the reason that's unfortunate It's because with the 2x4 and the 3-inch pipe, I'm going to have to further this out a little bit. It definitely bumps out. These barely, I'm not even sure if they would make it. I believe the sheetrock's going to go around here. So what I'm going to do is further that out. You'll see that in another video. As far as the venting, it just goes up through the roof, and we just did the roof, well, it's been several years ago now, but the flanges that go around the pipe that hold water out, the rubber parts, are still in good shape, so I didn't have to do that part. So I don't feel like climbing on a roof just to show you what that is. You'll have to check that out somewhere else. Alright, well, my mistakes are your gain, because had I known this in advance, that wasn't going to work out, before I'd already kind of ran this up through the roof, and I'm not going to do that all again because my son actually climbed up there, and he's doesn't like heights very much, and our roof is pretty steep. So when I got to this point and realized it was pretty much too late. So I'm gonna fix it down here. That'll be another video down the road, but my mistakes. If I had to do this over again, I would make sure that I actually put the smaller piece at the top and then brought the bigger piece all the way down. Yet again, I'm not sure if that actually, the bigger piece might not have been long enough, so I might have ended up here with it anyway, but that would have been a little easier to maybe cover up there than it will be down here. But yet again, well, that's about it for this one. Now I know it wasn't quite as in depth, but this is already getting to be a really long video, and I think it gives you a pretty good idea on how to measure out, glue up, and run your pipe. Everybody's going to be totally different, and like I said, I realize why people don't do this a lot, because really it is just a cutting, gluing, figuring it out. It's, you know, there's not a whole lot involved with it, but hopefully you got a few things out of this one and you've learned how to plumb your toilet. Now, if there's other questions out there, comments out there, please leave them below and I will try and answer them. If you want more of an exact, a little just the cutting and the gluing of pipe, measuring of pipe, that kind of stuff, leave a comment below and I'll do maybe just a part on that one. Alright, this is Sam, Jack of all, Master none. You all have a good one.